Hello, 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 and welcome to another speed build. Today, I am building I think it's a micro, not sure. It's a tier 1 tiny house, so it's 32 tiles. It's the smallest. And I have never, ever, ever built anything this small. It was difficult and fun at the same time. I stressed out a whole lot about making sure that there weren't any routing issues. So this one has been play tested and play tested and play tested and play tested to make sure that absolutely everything works and your sim can get to all of it and it all functions the way it's supposed to. So there's not much going on with the shape of the house, not very unique, because it's just a little 3-room house. And we're going to do a kitchen, a bathroom, and then a bedroom / living room kind of area. So that's about all I could fit in it. But I do add a lot to the exterior because I felt like, much like in real life, if your sim was living in this house, that they would probably spend a lot of time doing outside things just because the inside is so small. So I did struggle a whole lot with how I wanted to lay out this kitchen. And you'll see here in just a moment, it is going to change just slightly, just a little bit, because I felt like I needed one more counter to have sufficient counter space in here for your sim to be able to cook and for me to be able to add the amount of clutter that I wanted, because I felt like with it being small like this, for reality's sake, it would be a very cluttered kitchen. The house ends up being just extremely cluttered in general. And I have to say it because it bothered me to no end. I wanted to use these appliances, but I also wanted to use these counters. And the fact that the appliances have gold trim and gold handles and the counters have silver really bothered me. But I just went ahead and went with it. I leaned into it. I think this is the first red and black kitchen I've done. I've done like a red and bronze before with brick accents, but I think this is the first time I've just like really leaned into the whole red and black theme for a kitchen. And I really do like the way it turned out. I thought it was really cute and really pretty. But speaking of the red, I thought about continuing the red theme for the other 2 rooms, but I felt like because of the red trim on the windows, I felt like I wanted to continue the red theme for the rest of the rooms. But I also thought, realistically, like if I was living in this house, I would appreciate that there was red trim on the windows because it looks cute from the outside and it matches the trim on the outside. But also, I would have just been like, whatever, I'm doing whatever colors I want in the other 2 rooms. So that's how we kind of landed on a green and blue theme for this bedroom. And I really struggled with the cabinet area that I built at the end of the bed, just because like it's all Dream Home Decorator stuff, and just because the struggle was because I didn't know exactly how I wanted to do it and how many things I wanted to make look accessible. And the only thing that's really accessible for gameplay, the only thing that it counts in gameplay, are those the clothes that are hanging there, and because it counts as like a dresser. So none of it really needed to be accessible other than that. And you can use either the clothes that are hanging here that I'm decorating like a little vanity type area because the bathroom needed a little bit more space, so your bathroom's kind of bleeding out into your bedroom. Or you can access those clothes hanging at the end of the bed. You can also get to the bed to sleep, to relax. You can sit on that little stool and watch TV. So everything works. This house is probably the fastest build I've ever done. I sat down and built this I think I started building it at like 3 a.m. and it took me about 3 to 4 hours, start to finish, to completely build this house, landscaping, terrain, paint, everything, and get it done, because I built this right before we left on our road trip with our little dog to go up to Indianapolis to go to Indy PopCon, which is, we just got back from there earlier this week. So this build's like a couple weeks old, but we had a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. I didn't cosplay. I thought about being Eliza Pancakes, but I didn't do it. I did see a couple other people there at the con cosplaying. One was dressed up as a burglar, and then one, I'm not sure who they were supposed to be or if they were just supposed to be a sim, but they had on one of the new EA light up plumb bob headbands, which I had contemplating get one of those, but then I thought, you know, I really felt like it was kind of a waste of money because they're like $40, and I figured if I was gonna do a sim cosplay, I would just make my own. But alas, I did not cosplay. None of my children did. Well, my youngest child cosplayed as Zim from Invader Zim, and they looked really cute, and I loved it, and I took a picture, and I'm debating on whether or not to post it on my socials, just for privacy's sake. Although I don't have a lot of followers on any of my socials, I don't know, I kind of feel like I just want to hold on to it. Maybe post it on one of my private socials, not my public ones. But just know that they looked really cute. So, with the 3 rooms in the house being all there was, the house was fairly quick. So the rest of the video is going to be focused on the exterior and the landscaping and the terrain paint. So I knew that I wanted a grill out here and some entertaining areas and a pool, because I felt like if your sim wanted to have like any parties at the house or do any type of entertaining, there was going to need to be some outside areas that they could use, because there's just, I mean, that house, 1, maybe 2 people in there, but the house is definitely designed for just 1 sim. There's really not room for anything else. And it's definitely not a starter house. I don't remember how much it is. I want to say it's around 50 or 60 simoleons. So definitely not a starter house, but definitely only room for 1 sim. So I decided that I wanted a pool and a nice patio area for outdoor eating, and the one area off to the side with the seating area, and the other one you just saw me finish with gardening. I didn't put a lot of skill building things in this build, which I feel like in hindsight was a little bit of an oversight on my part, because that's one of the main reasons you have one of the tiers of a tiny house, is because it gives you extra perks and builds your skills faster and things like that. But there is also plenty of room on the exterior that you could add things like a woodworking table or an art easel or whatnot. You just have to take into consideration whether this was originally built in Windenburg on the little island near where all the ruins are, and on the lot called Mid-Nowhere, just because I wanted it like nestled into the woods somewhere. And I've done a few woodsy, outdoorsy builds in Copperdale that were like this, and I keep finding myself going back to Copperdale to do those builds, and I wanted to not do that this time. Oh, those black rocks that you see in the front there, those are from Horse Ranch, and they're a debug item, and they're like a curved piece of multiple little rocks. They're not black. there's some kind of glitch going on with the lighting with those and with shadows with those. And anytime they're in the shade or at night, it makes them look black or it makes them disappear. So I should have perhaps not used those. But I did because it was kind of a cheat. I didn't want to hand place all of those rocks out there, which there weren't that many rocks, but still. The landscaping on this, I wanted it to look not like wild and overgrown, but also like not manicured, not like there's somebody like actively like taking care of it every day. I wanted it to seem like somebody just was like, oh, I like flowers, and went outside and planted them in areas where they wanted them to be, or just threw out a handful of wildflower seeds and was just like, there you go, there's flowers. And they go back and like maybe weed them periodically or whatever. But I wanted them to be like a little, the patches of landscaping, I wanted it to be like a little chaotic, but not too chaotic, if you understand what I'm trying to say. I don't know. At this point, I don't even know what I'm trying to say. I'm very tired from being on vacation. I'm not gonna lie, I'm still like having trouble like catching up. And it would have been worse if we had flown, because there probably would have been jet lag. But the driving, man, that's a long drive. So with the terrain paint, reel it back in here and figure out what I'm talking about. So the terrain paint, I didn't do as much as I usually did, specifically because I wanted to preserve as much of the green as possible, because I wanted it to look very green here, especially since the back part, I used a lot of terrain paint for like patio area. So I wanted the rest of it to like not be as painted over as what I usually do. I wanted a whole lot of green grass left. So this has been play tested a whole lot to make sure there are no routing issues. There is not any CC because I play on PS5, so don't have access to mods or CC. So if you would like to download this, it is on the gallery under my EA ID, pyxiedusted. I thank you so very much for joining me today and watching this, and I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed building it. And I will see you in the next one. Bye, everybody.